Municipal election races starting to become clearer. Dan Kearns, The Standard. North Durham, Kawartha. Some municipal election races are starting to take shape as the candidate nomination deadline gets closer. In Uxbridge, Dave Barton is the lone candidate running for mayor. Those running for regional councillor include current councillor Bruce Gerard and former councillor Jack Ballinger. Ward 1 will see Pam Beach and Dominic Morrissey face off for the position. Former councillor Pat Malloy and Gordon Shreve have registered to run in Ward 2. Zed Pickering is looking to become the next Ward 3 councillor. Willie Popp is looking to retain his job as Ward 4 councillor. Todd Snooks is seeking re-election in Ward 5 but will be challenged by Christine McKenzie for the job. Skugog has one candidate registered to run for each job so far. Current councillor Wilma Watton is seeking the mayor's chair. Ward 1 councillor Ian McDougall is looking to become the regional councillor. David Leroy is registered to run for the Ward 1 councillor job. Janet Guido is seeking re-election as Ward 2 councillor. Robert Rock is seeking to return to the role of Ward 3 councillor. Harold Wright has registered to run in Ward 4. Ivo Finotti is looking to become the next Ward 5 councillor. In Brock Township, it's a three-way race for mayor between Ryan Williams and current councillors Walter Schumer and Ted Smith. Michael Jubb and Dorothy Sanderson are running for the regional councillor job. Peter Frank is the lone candidate in Ward 1. Claire Doble is seeking re-election in Ward 2. Angela Canavan is looking to become the next Ward 3 councillor. Korea Pettingill is seeking re-election in Ward 4. Lynn Campbell and Tony Laundrie will face off for the Ward 5 councillor job. Gordon Baxter and Carolyn Morton are running to be the North Durham trustee on the Durham District School Board. Richard Damianopoulos is registered to run for the Durham Catholic District School Board trustee role. The race for mayor in Kawartha Lakes is between current councillors Doug Elmsley and Pat Dunn. Don Logan has registered to run in Ward 1. Pat Warren and Jamie Brown are running for the Ward 2 councillor job. Mike Perry and William Denby are running in Ward 3. Ward 4 has turned into a three-person race between former Green Party candidate Angela Gozzo, Tyler Richards, and Ian Nicholson. Duncan Gallagher, Eric Smeaton, and Wesley Letchelo are running for the Ward 5 councillor position. Ron Ashmore seeks re-election in Ward 6 but will be challenged by Gerard Gileson. The Ward 7 councillor race will be between Zachary Tisdale, Charles McDonald, and Danielle Willett. Tracy Richardson and Greg Ward will vie for the Ward 8 councillor job. The 2022 election nomination period closes on Friday, August 19th. How can Durham Greener Homes help you? Courtney McClure, The Standard. North Durham. The purpose of Durham Greener Homes, DGH, managed by Windfall Ecology Center, was created to assist residents living within Durham region, to help Durham homeowners overcome energy retrofit challenges. An energy-efficient, properly ventilated home can eliminate drafts, mold hazards, and dampness, thereby improving your family's comfort and health. Adding energy efficiency to your home and lifestyle may also lower your energy bills and add to your home's value if you plan to sell in the future. DGH rose from the region's commitment to nurturing sustainable communities throughout Durham region. This includes advocating for a transition to energy-efficient homes throughout all the Durham region, which is part of the region's low-carbon and cleaner environment plan. Durham Greener Homes is a timely project set to help communities affected by the climate crisis. We recognize our part in the collective effort to contribute to Canada's net zero emission reduction goal, wrote Durham Greener Homes. Durham region, along with many other regions across Ontario and Canada, has declared a climate emergency. DGH means to help the region reach its goal of net zero greenhouse gas emissions by the year 2050. The Durham Community Energy Plan states by 2050, all homes throughout the region should have undergone energy retrofits. While Durham Greener Homes is a step in the right direction to engage Durham homeowners in climate action by retrofitting their homes, the program makes this easier by taking some of the stress off homeowners in the home energy retrofit journey, wrote Durham Greener Homes on their website. DGH works in collaboration with many energy advising experts, local lending companies, and energy utilities. Working with these collaborators helps DGH simplify the home energy retrofitting process and change the residential energy efficiency market. To learn more about the Windfall Ecology Center, you can visit their website at windfallcenter.ca. If you'd also like to learn more about the DGH and their initiative, check out their website, durhamgreenerhomes.ca. Adopt a new furry friend on Cat and Kitten Adoption Day. Courtney McClure, The Standard. North Durham. Join the Uxbridge Skugog Animal Shelter on Friday, August 12th for the Cat and Kitten Adoption Day event, starting at 10:30 a.m. and ending at 3:30 p.m. According to Animal Control Officer Jessica Pett, there are about 15 felines available at the shelter. But the number fluctuates because the shelter is always accepting adoptions, unless stated otherwise. There is an adoption fee of $100 per cat and kitten. People are asked to please bring a carrier to bring their new pet home. If you don't have a cat carrier, cardboard options will be made available for a fee of $10. You can also take your new pet home on the day of the event once you've filled out an application and shelter staff have reviewed it. Potential applicants can fill out an adoption sheet online, and the shelter will have applications available on site. Free goodie bags filled with pet supplies and other items will also be available, along with balloons for kids. Even if you don't want to adopt a cat, you're welcome to come by for the event, said Ms. Pett. The Uxbridge Skugog Animal Shelter is always accepting financial donations, bedding with stuffing on the inside, and pet food of any kind. Shelter staff will only accept unopened packaged food. Ms. Pett said, "The shelter does not tend to use donated bed sheets very often, but will happily accept normal-sized bath towels. They use them very frequently. Right now, the shelter is in need of kitten food." For more information, visit the Township of Uxbridge website at uxbridge.ca.
The widow's mite. The tight fist can express anger, defiance, or fear of letting go. Sometimes the latter can be because of a desire for control over circumstances one is familiar with, so fear of change. It also can be a fear of losing a sense of security or provision for one's imagined future. This can stem from a persistent or recent history of lack. Recently, the term food insecurity has been used more often, so as to become a colloquialism used even by the young. Whether this is because of supply chain problems due to war or disease prevention precautions, resultant job loss or reduction of hours due to the same, or difficulty purchasing proper food attributable to rising costs, food insecurity has become a more central concern for many who never really gave it a second thought years ago. There is a story in the Bible about a moment Jesus observed and commented upon, regarding a widow who was contributing to the work the church was doing to help those in need. Many people had gathered to contribute financially. The rich, in particular, involved themselves, making a display of their doing so in order to be recognized as charitable and assuage their conscience for not being involved in the flow of others' lives. It was an effort to stand aloof from community and still appear connected for influential gain. This is in Mark 12, verses 38 and 39, and Luke 20, verses 45 and 46. The actual reason for this collection, as it is done today in churches all over the world, was an ongoing effort to gather, much like squirrels do, for the needs of those close at hand and even farther abroad. It was and is so others' lives may be provided for, so young may grow strong and safe, and their providers may experience the fulfillment of doing so for their young. At that particular time, Jesus was standing by casually in the temple, near the collection area, and so happened to observe the many who gave large amounts to the collection. His purpose was not so much to make a negative observation about offering money, but rather to comment on proportion, as a revealing thing about the condition of people's hearts. A widow, a woman who no longer had provision nor means of supply, as her husband had died and she had no sons to take care for her, had placed 2 mites in the collection. This is in Mark 12, 41 to 44, and Luke 21, verses 1 to 4. These were coins which were scaled, small coins called flakes or bits, cut-offs or leftover drops from smelting other coins. Side note: at the time, all coins were made of important metals, and so carried their value outright. This is unlike today, where our money only represents a share of gold stored in our country's coffers. The value it corresponds to can be changed simply by printing more money. This changes the fraction our money represents, hence the phrase, "the strength of the dollar," communicates this. So back to our story. The widow's money was equal to about a farthing, which was all her savings. It amounted, dollar-wise, to about a quarter of a Canadian penny. As she gave, Jesus was aware of her inner considerations of her heart. He was aware she had considered the needs of others, and had considered God's love for those who take care of others above themselves. In Christ's all-encompassing estimation, one which considers the commodity of the heart as prized by God above all, he knew she had given a value far more than all the riches around. The phrase, "give till it hurts," reminds me of her and of Christ's sacrifice for us. I believe Jesus saw her as a sister with the same kind of heart as he. He did say of her, what she gave was of more value than all of these others together. I'm not sharing all this to stimulate guilt over tightening our fists as of late, but to illustrate another response to leaner or more insecure times. If we look to lack, we will remain insecure. If we look to possibility and to the God in charge of that, we can give freely and ask unashamedly for God to supply our need, as he then can trust we will share what we receive with others who need. A flowing river gives life to all around, but stagnant water is a pool of eventual death. Which kind of water do you want to swim in? In September, there will be another food drive asking for food, gift cards, or financial contributions for Operation Skugog, so it can bless the lives of those in our community and eliminate insecurity around food and needed everyday items. Please remember then, the posture of your heart is reflected in your hand. A closed fist does not enable one to swim, but an open hand does. Mississaugas of Skugog Island comment on Pope Francis's Canadian visit. Dan Kearns, The Standard. Skugog. The Mississaugas of Skugog Island First Nation have commented on Pope Francis's recent visit to Canada. We wish to honor all residential school survivors and remember the many children whom we lost. As Pope Francis begins his visit to Canada, we are reflecting upon the long journey First Nations faced towards healing the trauma caused by the residential schools experience, the statement released on Monday, July 25th, and signed by Chief Kelly LaRocca, read. The statement also noted what needs to happen for reconciliation efforts to move forward. Our council strongly believes the papal visit must be an opportunity for the Pope to listen to survivors, leaders, and our elders. In order for the Church to move forward on the journey of reconciliation, it must atone and recognize the severe impacts of its role in church-run residential schools. The MSIFN and other First Nations groups are seeking an apology to residential school victims, survivors, and their communities from Pope Francis, as well as the release of all residential school records. Our council calls on the Church to complete the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's calls to action 59-61, which asks that clergy and congregations be educated about the history and legacy of residential schools, respect Indigenous spirituality, and prescribes funding for reconciliation, healing, education, and community building projects, the statement added.
The Standard Podcast was produced by Greenstream Studio for the Standard newspaper.